This big star has an IQ as high as 120, and in the Battle Royale game it even defeated the nation's top 10 billion level gaming elites. All of this was thanks to the coal-selling smart chip worn on the star's head. But behind this commercial success lies a complex conspiracy. On the day of the press conference, Hera is driving while watching the live broadcast. As the car passes by Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital, a dog suddenly appears on the road, startling her and nearly causing a collision. When Hera gets out to apologize to the other driver, she suddenly notices that the woman in the back seat looks familiar. At the same time, Hera's mind is flooded with blurry, chaotic flashes of memory. It happens to be the opening day of Hera's sister Yura's new store. But the custom mannequin she ordered was delayed during transport. Upon arriving, Hera finds Yura scolding the staff. After learning the situation, Hera takes off her heels and jewelry, climbs a ladder, and helps Yura decorate the store. Unexpectedly, Yura deliberately tugs the electric cord to shake the ladder, trying to make Hera fall. Fortunately, at the crucial moment Hera grabs onto the chandelier, but the combined weight pulls the chandelier and its base down completely. During the few seconds of falling, Yura suddenly recalls a memory. She is alone in a sealed mobile facility, fighting countless enemies, and after taking many of them down, she falls from the second floor. 15 years ago, Hei-Su witnessed her father being assassinated during the presidential inauguration. Because of her increasingly frequent flashes of memory, Hera goes to the hospital with Yura for an examination. While Hera undergoes a brain CT scan, Yura is outside the room speaking mysteriously with the doctor. From their conversation it becomes clear that both of them know Hera once suffered memory loss, and are now trying to help her recover those memories. This explains why Yura tried shaking the ladder earlier. She was trying to recreate familiar scenarios to trigger Hera's memory. While undergoing the examination, Hera's flashbacks intensify. She recalls being trained and fighting intensely. In these memories, a familiar yet unfamiliar girl, wearing yellow clothing marked with the number 50, appears repeatedly. To celebrate the success of the press conference, a banquet is held at the mansion. Hera attends dressed elegantly in an evening gown. While getting ready in front of the mirror, she sees the terrifying scar on her body, triggering more fragmented memories. Running frantically through the jungle, dogs barking fiercely nearby. Hei-Su, Do-young's wife, is a top anchor at the TV station. Even after the banquet begins, she remains at work reporting on the conference. After the broadcast, she returns to her office and unexpectedly receives a mysterious package. Inside is only a photo of a woman. On the back, a printed message reads, "The one who killed Hei-Su's father." Was this woman known as number 50, the woman in yellow? From the earlier memory flashes, we already know that this woman is the same person Hera keeps remembering. While Hei-Su is still working late at the station, Do-young is secretly meeting Yura at the mansion. Yes, Yura, who hides many secrets, is also having an affair with Do-young. Hei-Su comes home early and nearly catches them, but because she goes straight to change clothes instead of entering the bathroom, Yura barely manages to slip away, but not before intentionally leaving an earring on the sink. After finding it, Hei-Su confirms her husband's infidelity. At the banquet, the couple gets into a fierce argument. Do-young storms off and drives away. Hei-Su follows him, determined to catch evidence of his cheating. During the chase, she nearly gets into an accident at a red light. The series of shocks triggers memories of the assassination years ago. On the drive back to the mansion, she narrowly avoids accidents several times. Once home, trying to calm her nerves, she pours herself a drink, but accidentally drops the glass. The shattered fragments trigger a suicidal impulse. Thankfully, Hera arrives in time and stops her from doing anything foolish. Meanwhile, at the pharmaceutical company's lab developing the Daxing smart chip, a mysterious intruder breaks in and kills Dr. Rydell. The next day, Do-young and the others rush to the lab after hearing the news. Do-young appears deeply shaken at the sight of Rydell's body. But when Do-young suggests calling the police, In-hyun insists on catching the killer himself. and even tries to steer suspicion toward Do-young's political rival. Despite the setbacks in her own life, Hae-soo refuses to give up investigating her father's death. With the help of her colleague reporter Park, they eventually trace clues to Hanyue's psychiatric hospital, a hospital that appears reputable from the outside. But Hae-soo can't shake the feeling that this hospital is hiding a huge secret. At the same time, Hera, who came looking for Hae-soo, sees the documents she's investigating. The woman in the photos is the same one who has appeared countless times in Hera's fragmented memories. The hospital director is also the same person Hera saw in the back seat during the car accident. Hera feels that the secrets buried within her must be tied to Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital. So she decides to join Hae-soo in uncovering the truth. Once they enter the hospital, they immediately sense something eerie. Hae-soo clearly saw a staff member wearing the yellow uniform associated with number 50 earlier, but when she shows the photo of number 50, no one claims to recognize the woman. Strangely, as soon as Hera steps inside, she feels an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Following her intuition, she discovers an abandoned warehouse behind the hospital. Everything she sees feels familiar, and the seal on her forgotten memories begins slowly breaking. What exactly is the connection between Hera and number 50? This drama thrives on unexpected twists. The gentle, elegant chaebol wife turns out to be a top-tier assassin who once attempted to kill the president of South Korea. Even more dramatic, after losing her memory and receiving reconstructive surgery, this assassin became best friends with the president's daughter. Ridiculously enough, the two even investigate the assassination together, not knowing the culprit might actually be Hera herself. After entering Hanyue's psychiatric hospital, Hera follows her fuzzy memories to a secret chamber that appeared in her visions. Seeing the scene that perfectly matches her memory, and recalling the girl in the yellow combat suit, Hera finally realizes she herself is the girl known as number 50. As soon as the system detects intruders, an ear-piercing alarm sounds. A group of black-clad agents rush out of the chamber and surround Hera. She tries to explain she simply entered the wrong area, but the agents ignore her and immediately attack. Hera dodges instinctively, and her buried combat instincts awaken. Even she is shocked at the skilled defensive moves her body performs on its own. Her fighting becomes more fluid and lethal, and before long she has taken down everyone in the room. But before she can even catch her breath, Chief Cho of the assassin organization arrives with more agents. Hera fights while retreating and ultimately escapes through an underground passage. Meanwhile, Hae-soo continues questioning hospital staff, but no one admits to knowing the woman in the photo. Just as she's about to give up, someone secretly hands her a note. "I know who you're looking for." The sender invites her to meet at a cafe that night. Back at the assassin base, Chief Cho is scolded harshly because someone infiltrated the facility and escaped unscathed. The director blames everything on his incompetence. But when she reviews the security footage, she realizes the woman who fought her way out has movements and a silhouette that feel extremely familiar. After escaping, Hera goes to Yura to demand the truth about her identity. Yura pretends to be shocked at first, but quickly reveals everything. 15 years ago, Yura's real younger sister Hera died in a car accident. While Yura was preparing to register the death, someone approached her and offered money in exchange for using Hera's identity. Yura agreed. Shortly after, a severely injured girl was brought to the hospital. While she was unconscious, doctors performed reconstructive surgery on her. When she woke, the amnesiac girl had become Hera, Yura's supposed younger sister. Hera asks who masterminded the entire scheme, but Yura refuses to tell her. For years, the person behind the scenes carefully crafted a whole new life for her. Hera decides she will uncover the truth herself. After she leaves in tears, Yura immediately calls the mysterious mastermind and reports everything. She claims she wants to quit the mission, but the person on the other end threatens her, ordering her to continue playing her assigned role. Chief Cho later checks the access logs at the base and discovers the intruder was indeed number 50. missing for 15 years. When he informs the director, she erupts in rage. Years ago, Chief Cho had been ordered to eliminate number 50, and he chased her until she fell off a cliff with severe injuries. Although her body was never found, they assumed she couldn't have survived. Yet now number 50 has returned, and the director believes this is her challenge to them. Chief Cho swears he will kill the woman now known as Hera. Back home, Hera hurriedly packs her things and prepares to take her daughter and flee. But before she can leave the mansion, Chief Cho arrives. The two engage in a fierce battle. Hera is nearly defeated, but just in time, she triggers the mansion's alarm system. A large number of security guards rushed in quickly, forcing Chief Cho to retreat for the moment. That night, Hae-soo arrived at the cafe as agreed. The person meeting her was a nurse from the psychiatric hospital. The nurse explained that over 10 years ago, she had seen number 50 at the hospital. Back then, she and her younger brother had been sent to Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital. During one escape attempt, the girl known as number 50 was bitten by wild dogs, leaving part of her ear missing. The nurse said she was willing to help Hae-soo gather more information, but only if Hae-soo helped her break free from the hospital's control. After they struck the deal, the nurse left the cafe. But as soon as she stepped outside, a group of men in a business van seized her and dragged her away. Meanwhile, the lab's chimpanzee test subject had been found murdered. Security footage revealed that the killer was actually an internal security guard. Under police interrogation, the guard confessed that he had accepted a bribe in desperation to save his sick wife and child. The person who hired him was none other than the main rival of In-hyun, the man running for president. Outraged by his opponent's tactics, In-hyun stormed into the rival's campaign office and publicly beat up one of his opponent's aides in front of reporters. Tension between the two campaigns rose to its peak. In-hyun had no way to back down anymore. After surviving the assassination attempt, Hera was deeply worried about her family. She repeatedly tried calling her husband, but at that moment he was meeting with Director Kim of Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital. Hearing Director Kim's voice through the phone sent fear coursing through Hera's entire body. She kept trying to call her husband to warn him to stay away from this dangerous woman, but he never answered. No longer able to sit still, Hera rushed outside, got into her car, and sped toward her husband's company. But she never expected that. As soon as her car exited the mansion gates, Chief Cho, who had been hiding in the back seat, placed a knife against her neck. In the critical moment, Hera summoned all her courage and aimed the car straight at a large tree. The violent impact freed her from Cho's grip. They stepped out of the car and fought fiercely again. Although Hera was still no match for him in raw strength, her resilience allowed her to endure the first wave of attacks. Seizing the chance, she grabbed a broken tree branch from the ground and drove it straight into Chief Cho's eye. After that, Hera rushed to her husband's company. When she arrived in the lobby, In-hyun was holding a press conference. In front of the cameras, the charming and elegant man announced that he was stepping down as if and officially entering the presidential race. With this announcement, Hera's plan to escape completely collapsed. And within the noisy crowd, Hera seemed to see Director Kim, holding her daughter, little Yul, by the hand. Many people wanted to get a glimpse of Hera's ear, because it hid a terrible secret. Once, even her best friend had caught a glimpse by accident, and immediately ran away in fear. And now, her husband was pulling her onto the stage. As he declared his presidential candidacy, something Hera was extremely unhappy about. She knew her identity could bring massive trouble to In-hyun. Afterward, she questioned him about his meeting with Director Kim, the woman she feared most. In-hyun claimed it was only a work-related meeting. That night, Hera returned alone to the forest where the crash happened. Chief Cho, who had been unconscious earlier, was nowhere to be found. She searched the area and discovered a large amount of blood where he had fallen. When she checked the glove compartment of the car, she noticed a small blinking light. Just as she bent down to look more closely, a car suddenly approached from the distance. Hae-soo had come looking for her. Hae-soo couldn't figure out how she'd found the place. but said it was because Hera had sent her a text asking for help. Seeing Hera's car crashed into the tree, Jesus insisted on checking the surroundings. At that moment, Hera suddenly noticed a figure wearing a motorcycle helmet, lurking in the forest. Thinking of the blinking device she had just seen, Hera instantly realized that person was here to kill Jesus. She pulled Jesus back quickly, and the car exploded with a massive blast. The flames roared upward as the shockwave knocked both of them to the ground. Luckily, Hera had anticipated danger, so neither of them was hurt. But this explosion pushed Hera to her breaking point. Attempts on her life kept coming, and now even the people she cared about were being targeted. This crossed Hera's final line. So she charged into Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital alone, and forced her way into Director Kim's office. The director arrogantly claimed that she was the one who had taken Hera in and protected her, which only intensified Hera's rage. Years ago, after Hera discovered the director's true motives, she attempted to escape the hospital twice with her younger brother. During the second attempt, they rode a motorcycle out of the facility, but Chief Cho chased them. He rammed the motorcycle with his car. Her brother fell onto the road and was struck again in a secondary collision. Hera herself was hit and sent tumbling down a cliff. The grief and hatred of all these years erupted inside her. She grabbed a long knife and slashed wildly at Director Kim's face. Although the old woman was furious, Hera's hatred toward her ran far deeper. She spent a large sum of money to hire her to find the mastermind who had controlled everything back then. At the same time, Tara also warned this old demon not to harass her family and friends again. Biao Jaehan, on behalf of H Group, held business negotiations with Hanyue Psychiatric Hospital. In fact, it was the director who made a promise to Jaehan. Hanyue would provide some patients every year to the H laboratory for smart patch human experiments. This promise made Jaehan and his two brothers extremely pleased, even ignoring the fact that such actions violated the law. Clearly, the shared secrets among the three brothers were far more than just this. To help Tara conceal her identity, the director proactively arranged a meeting with Jesus, who was conducting an investigation. After they met, Jesus once again asked about the identity of number 50. The director tried to brush it off vaguely, but Jesus said that a nurse in the hospital had seen number 50 here years ago. The director, indeed a powerful actor, brazenly fabricated another lie in front of Jesus. She claimed that Hanyue only had one patient named Young Yusun, and even brought Jesus to the basement to visit her. It was the same woman Jesus had seen a few days earlier, but now she looked vacant and mentally dazed. Clearly, over these few days, she had suffered unimaginable inhumane torture. After Jesus left, Mayor Cho pushed the woman back inside. The director grabbed her hair and interrogated her, eventually learning that the one behind everything was actually Yom Sang. This Mayor Yom was the relative of Jesus' grandfather, Chairman Zhang. Everything she did was undoubtedly under Chairman Zhang's orders. The old man wanted his daughter-in-law to know the truth. Meanwhile, the information Jesus obtained kept growing, and eventually her suspicion shifted toward Tara. Jesus traced clues back to the car accident 15 years ago, and video called Tara's former friend in France. She uncovered a shocking truth. The real Tara had already died 15 years ago. Through careful observation, Jesus noticed that Tara always avoided letting others touch her right side. And she also saw messages from a plastic surgery hospital on Tara's phone. Jesus followed her all the way to the hospital. This did not match Young Yusun's description that Tara's ear had been bitten by a dog. Combined with Tara constantly hiding things recently, Jesus finally confirmed that she was her father's killer. Elsewhere, Jaejon went alone to the lab late at night and took the surveillance footage from Moondiok's monitoring room. Before Moondiok was killed, he had already been emotionally unstable, which meant their research had essentially failed. But Jaejon did not want to lose his chance to enter politics. After learning that the lab's security guard had been bribed, he went to the guard for a second payoff. With Moondiok dead and the experiment failed, the issue could be covered up. As long as the surveillance evidence was destroyed, No one would ever know the truth. After John threw the hard drive into the flames and left, he didn't realize that someone retrieved it from the fire. That person was Chairman Jiang. He showed the footage to his son Jin, so he could see the true nature of the friend beside him. And what followed was only the beginning of the evidence. Thus, the figure who murdered Jesus' father was fully revealed. But the main issue was that our heroine Jesus acted without thinking. In fact, an even larger conspiracy was behind all of this. And so, their friendship completely collapsed, and Jesus turned into Taira's enemy. Meanwhile, Jesus' grandfather, Chairman Jiang, was also running for president. More than 10 years ago, Chairman Jiang wanted to expose Jesus' father, the man who was assassinated at the presidential debriefing. Unexpectedly, the former president angrily refused. Chairman Jiang even threatened him, saying he was the kind of person who never stopped until he reached his goal. Soon after, the former president was assassinated. 2 years later, due to overwhelming public pressure, the former First Lady, accused of murdering her husband, committed suicide at home. In her grief, Jesus went abroad for a period of time. As their family fell from grace one by one, the greatest suspicion fell on Chairman Jiang, because his Jinbird group rose rapidly to become the third largest in Korea. Through improper dealings, naturally causing suspicion that he had been behind the assassination. To deflect the suspicion, Chairman Jiang arranged for his son to marry Jesus, finally clearing his name completely. When Chairman Jiang showed the surveillance data from John's lab to Jin, revealing the experiment's failure, John, in order not to ruin his political campaign, bribed the security guard to carry out the grand hunt. Chairman Jiang wanted Jin to use this to remove John from the management team so he could take over, and then merge the company into Jinbird Group, a plan that killed two birds with one stone. This put Jin into extreme conflict. Actually, Chairman Jiang had no better option. He had another son. The two brothers had a good relationship. More than 10 years ago, during a motorcycle race, the bike malfunctioned and he fell off the cliff, becoming a vegetative person. That son had always been Chairman Jiang's preferred successor, but now that he was in a vegetative state, Jin got the opportunity instead. But this naive son questioned John, and unexpectedly, John used the smart patch research. It was all to stabilize Jin's official position, and he even put on a self-blaming attitude. If only they hadn't gone to the mountain to play that day, today's situation would not have happened. The three brothers were once again numbed by their brotherhood, but the screenwriter would never allow these brothers to walk the same path. Seeing this disappointing son being persuaded again, Chairman Jiang simply called John over directly to state his own stance. He wanted him to withdraw, because all of his weaknesses were in his hands. Once this matter came out, he would certainly die. But unexpectedly, John didn't care at all. And even threw a threat at him. He had heard clearly the conversation and argument between him and the former president back then. Even so, the crafty and calculating Chairman Jiang just smiled calmly. How can you use something that only exists in your memory to threaten me? Since both of them were playing politics, John was no longer afraid. You old fox, how do you know I don't have evidence in my hands? Then he said he had many things to tell Jin, and called him, leaving Chairman Jiang secretly unsettled. On the other side, Jesus wanted to completely uncover all information about Tara from back then. She even ordered her assistant to bring a camera and forcibly enter the basement to film the nurse. Unexpectedly, once they entered, they ran into Wulong. Director Kim had arranged everything long ago. Not only that, Director Kim even threatened to sue the TV station. This almost cost Jesus her job. To keep her job, the assistant persuaded Jesus to dig into Tara, since John was running for election, and they needed to know every detail of the future First Lady's life. Tara was the one who knew everything. So Tara became the key target. For survival, Jesus had no choice but to bow her head. But she still held hatred toward Tara. And when Jesus learned that Tara had a fake identity, Director Kim had already called to warn Tara, and all of this might have been part of Chairman Jiang's plan. From having his son pursue Heisu, to Taira's plastic surgery. All of it could have been arranged by Chairman Jiang. He wanted to direct all hatred toward Taira. Heisu, consumed by revenge and hatred toward Taira, cut ties with her and confronted her head-on. The love-obsessed Yura, who was originally escaping overseas, could not let go of the blessed Dujin. When she secretly returned, she ran straight into Chairman Jiang. Chairman Jiang clearly did not want to see a discarded pawn appear again. He and his son sent her abroad and told her she could never return. When Dujin dragged the drunken Yura out, they happened to be seen by Young Ho, who also liked Yura. Yes, this woman was seducing two men at the same time. She didn't expect that both men being cheated on were brothers, and both genuinely loved her. After hearing their conversation, the flowers in Young Ho's hand were clearly no longer what they were meant to be. Realizing she had no way out, Yura went to Young Ho's place, looking for a USB hidden with the company's research data. But Young Ho followed her back and discovered her true intention. She only wanted the data. Young Ho threw away the ring, and the two completely turned against each other. Yura ran out into the rain to escape, but unexpectedly another masked figure appeared outside. Hiding in a corner, Yura was dragged up onto a tree and hung. Just like that, the first unlucky one died. The three brothers were torn apart, and the two close friends also became enemies. But Taira knew very well that Heisu was merely blinded by interests. The woman found a hidden camera at home. In disbelief, she took out the memory card and opened the video. Inside were not scenes of her with her husband, but of her father-in-law, her husband, and her best friend's private affair. Despicable and shameless. She finally heard their conversation clearly. Only then did she realize that the woman her husband had been cheating with was actually her own best friend. And that friend was Taira's sister. Added to the fact that Taira was also her father's killer, Heisu's hatred could no longer be restrained. She secretly took Taira's daughter, Unyu, planning to push her off a cliff. But her conscience wouldn't allow her to do so. When Taira arrived and saw the bottomless cliff, she believed Heisu had taken her revenge on Unyu. Heisu staged this scene just to confirm Taira's true identity. Although Unyu's life was not in danger, their hatred had now become open and irreversible. When they arrived at the mansion one after another, they found police cars there. Seeing Yura's miserable corpse, Taira, despite having severed ties with her long ago, still couldn't help feeling sad. Though the case involved a presidential candidate, in order to calm public opinion, the police still needed to investigate. Taira and Heisu were not at the mansion when it happened, but the three men all had suspicious alibis. Jae-John claimed he had been working in the study, and even after the power outage, he used the backup generator and never left. Dujin said he was sleeping at the time, but Heisu immediately saw he was lying. Meanwhile, Jaehan said he would not answer any questions before his lawyer arrived. After the police left, Heisu became suspicious of Dujin's statement. As for the usually quiet Jaehan, once the police left, he broke down crying. Yura's death had clearly struck him hard. Facing his wife's recklessness, Jae-John remained magnanimous, promising that no matter what Taira did in the past, he would always love her. But in reality, both were hiding secrets in their hearts. Taira had learned from Yura's voicemail that the person who had been secretly controlling her life was someone who had lived alongside her for many years. Later, in the hospital, Taira saw her husband hiding evidence from the doctor. However, she outsmarted him and gave the doctor more money, finally obtaining the USB containing secret data from Yura's body. Shortly after the case, Jae-John hired a housekeeping company to clean the sink. Unexpectedly, the workers accidentally wet Zaiching's clothes, so he returned to change. When he removed his top, countless blood marks appeared on his back. Taira, who had been secretly observing outside, immediately recognized that these deep red marks were left by her sister. At this moment, Taira realized that the person who killed Yura was her closest lover. In a fit of rage, Taira picked up scissors from the table, intending to dismember her. Just as she was about to strike, someone suddenly appeared to stop her. It was the seemingly harmless Dr. Pooh. Dr. Pooh had already noticed Jae-John's abnormal behavior and followed him, finding his secret storage room. There, he discovered a broken watch with blood on it. Dr. Pooh analyzed the blood and confirmed it belonged to Yura. The watch appeared to have been damaged during Lei Ji's attack. Tae recognized the watch. It was the lucky charm from when they had committed to each other. She showed Dr. Pooh the evidence she had, Yura's final phone recording, in which Yura acknowledged her mistakes and intended to exchange her hidden experimental data with Dr. Pooh. Thus, two people with a common enemy reached a temporary understanding. Meanwhile, Haesu's plan failed, making her the scapegoat at the TV station. The station director announced her immediate dismissal. Even the loyal reporter who had followed her for years refused to stick with her through this mess. Chairman Jang, influential and wealthy, even drafted a divorce agreement to get rid of this trouble. However, from the beginning, someone had trusted Haesu and shielded her. When Chairman Jang proposed divorce, Do-jin chose to defy his father rather than break their marriage vow. Do-jin firmly believed that Tae was her father's avenger. Even though Haesu had been suspended, the mysterious supporter continued providing crucial evidence. This secret person revealed that the man who hired 50 to assassinate the president was connected to the Blue Diamond Project. Tracking the origin of the necklace would reveal who had wanted to kill his father. Later, the organization sent an elite assassin to eliminate Haesu. Haesu called his loyal reporter, Park, only to hear a plea for help on the other end. The assassin, Han-yu, found Park and beat him, then demanded Haesu go alone. Though aware of Director Kim's plot, Haesu had no choice but to comply to save Park. Before seeking revenge on Haesu, Director Kim called Tae to inform her of the danger. Rushing to the scene, she unexpectedly encountered a masked man. After a brief struggle, Tae managed to remove the mask, and was shocked to see it was someone she recognized, Jae-John's hired bodyguard. On the guard's chest, she noticed the number 105. Seeing this familiar yet strange man, Tae could hardly believe it. This was someone she thought had already died. It explained why she had always felt an inexplicable closeness to him. However, when facing her, the brainwashed man stabbed his own sister's shoulder. Because he wanted to live with his sister, but she chose her husband and nephew. However, he couldn't be pushed away so easily. Director Kim even planned to use the brother to manipulate Tae. The sister tried every possible way to persuade Hee-jun to reconsider. But Hee-jun refused to communicate and warned her. Their conversation was overheard clearly by Jae-hyun on the second-floor balcony. Not long ago, Jae-hyun had a tense conversation with Director Kim. Director Kim held a photograph of Yura's murder and of a meeting with the secretary, using it as leverage to demand all shares of the Haesong Group from Jae-hyun. In exchange, Director Kim promised to fully support Jae-hyun's campaign. Jae-hyun realized that there was a spy sent by Director Kim lurking nearby. Director Kim handed over evidence of Han's bribery to the police. This flawless completion of the mission displayed Haesun's strength, and he was praised as the Ace 105. However, Jae-hyun suspected that Director Kim was deliberately overconfident in Haesun's use. That evening, Director Kim waited in Haesun's room, deliberately hinting that Tae would be killed if he failed. Haesun inadvertently revealed his connection to Tae, infuriating the old hag and also stirring complex feelings toward him. Do-jin, upon learning that his father had killed Jae-hyun's mother, realized it was impossible to move Jae-hyun. Yet faced with the hopeful Haesu, Do-jin, acting in his role, could not bring himself to speak the truth. Meanwhile, Representative Han was under intense scrutiny. Not only did the police investigate his campaign office, but media exposure caused his support to plummet. Han tried to redirect attention toward Jae-hyun, while Chairman Jang, despite being hospitalized from a stroke, attended a press conference in his wheelchair. Haesu hoped he would reveal the truth, but he instead claimed publicly that Jae-hyun's mother had misused research funds, turning the issue into political propaganda. This dashed Haesu's hopes. She could not understand why the truth had been suppressed. She approached Chairman Jang to demand the truth, but he was restrained and also looking for a way out of the situation. Chairman Jiang wanted Du Jin to return quickly to Gold House to take over operations. Although Du Jin and his mother held many shares, Jiang had hidden additional assets in a Czech investment company abroad. These funds could help Du Jin gain full control of Gold House. As Heisu investigated, she discovered that a blue diamond necklace from the past had been purchased through this Czech company. Du Jin was stunned. He never imagined his father had orchestrated the murder of his own wife. When the journalist initially mailed the company's information, Du Jin had received it on Heisu's behalf and destroyed the documents, then confronted his father directly. Jiang revealed the full extent of the crimes, leaving Du Jin furious and desperate. He also learned that Jae-hyun knew the entire truth. Heisu, waiting at the villa for the documents, discovered via property security that Du Jin had intercepted them. Realizing deception was at play, she asked reporter Poo to resend the files, ultimately uncovering the Czech company's hidden involvement. Coupled with her memories of Jiang's opposition to her marriage, Heisu confirmed that the company was behind her father's murder. Tara went to the H Group laboratory to exchange intelligence with Dr. Tao, but Jae-hyun unexpectedly appeared, blocking her exit. To prevent private communication with Tara, Dr. Tao took Jae-hyun out of the lab. Meanwhile, the presidential election officially began. Jae-hyun's main rival, weakened by prior scandals, struggled to regain popularity. But using advanced technology, Jae-hyun steadily pulled ahead in the polls, appearing unstoppable. During a campaign speech, Representative Han suddenly received a mysterious email. Inside was only a photo. Ho-jun was preparing at the scene of the assassination of Han's financial backer shortly after the crime occurred. Armed with such solid evidence, Han gained confidence in countering the election threats. At a subsequent campaign dinner, Han intercepted Jae-hyun and his team, revealing the photo as critical evidence. Jae-hyun was caught completely off guard. After Han and his group left, Jae-hyun angrily confronted Director Kim, demanding to know why Hae-soon had been left in the field. Director Kim knew it had all been orchestrated by Mayor Cho, but it was too late to intervene. Already frustrated with Hae-soon, Director Kim made a drastic decision. He ordered the assassin organization to eliminate Hae-soon immediately. Tara, who had long monitored Kim's actions, arrived at the parking lot in time to rescue Hae-soon from the ambush. She then returned to the scene, confronted Director Kim, and, in a dramatic act during the televised event, killed her. Afterward, she calmly returned to Jae-hyun's side. However, due to her time away from active operations, during the killing of Director Kim, a blood stain on her sleeve revealed her presence. Although Jae-hyun noticed something was amiss, he could only observe vaguely, unable to fully grasp what had happened.